And welcome to the Crawford Podcasting Network for another episode of All Rell Good with former Michigan standout Richard Rellford out of Riviera Beach, Florida, two-time Big Ten champion. We've been doing this 3+ years. We always have a good time, win or lose. Lately, the Wolverines have been winning. Since we talked last, we had Wayman Britt on. Remember that podcast, Rich, before I caught COVID and joined the COVID club, which is not a fun initiation, by the way, to join that club. Regardless of that, we had Wayman on here, and Wayman was really he was kind of getting in the grill of this Michigan basketball team as far as not defending. Well,
Yes.
they're starting to defend a little bit better, and maybe the message has been delivered, and actually they're scoring points. They had 93 points. I think that's the highest of the year against Nebraska, albeit.
Right.
But 3-game win streak. How do you feel about this team, Rich, going into Indiana on Saturday night?
I feel good. Even though Indiana's tough, they're one of the top teams in the Big Ten. I think we're on a roll right now. If we can get the Indiana game, it'll be a big surprise to everyone. But I think we need plus wins in order to get into the tournament.
Yeah.
Beating Indiana is a plus win.
Oh, that's huge.
Because they're up there. But I look good. I feel good, Tom. Watching the guys last night play and play the way they did was just amazing to me.
You know, Doug McDaniel, and I was on the Wolverine podcast with John Borton last week. I think it was with him or somebody else, and I talk about the ultimate X factor. I mean, you can talk about how Kobe Buffkin is really getting good, and he is really good.
Yes.
Getting coming back off, and the starters had 30 minutes plus. I mean, T. Will had a pretty doggone good game.
He did.
Or 6 guys in double figures. But yes. I go back to Doug McDaniel, and I, when I think of Doug McDaniel this freshman year, I think what you went through your junior year, you had a freshman point guard, named Gary Grant out of Canton McKinley High School. And I'm thinking, good Lord, you guys were veterans. You're bringing in this freshman to run the team. I mean, how did that work? I know he's a great defender, but how the hell did that work?
I think with Gary, Gary came in with the mindset of, I just want to help. I'm not trying to be the star. I just want to help. And we were trying to get guys that we just needed added pieces to be better. And Gary, I know he was a freshman, but he came in playing like a veteran, and his mindset was good. Because he first thing he said to us is, guys, I'm going to be a lockdown defender. I can shoot, but I want to be a lockdown defender. And that's what won us all over. Me and Roy loved him because he always tried to give us the ball.
Yeah, and your senior year as well. You played with Gary for 2 years, and I mean, this is a guy that, when you transition from high school and you went through this to college, there's a different level of expectation of execution defensively. It's harder to defend these guys because they're not like. I mean, in high school, you're way better than everybody else. Now, all of a sudden, all these dudes, and we talked about all those great dudes. I mean, you came in with Russell Cross and all those Big Ten guys, and Melvin
and Whitman and Kitchell from Florida, from Indiana.
Yeah,
all these big guys. Oh yeah, it was something when we got there.
Yeah, so you had to transition. You You had to learn to defend, which is the unfun part of basketball. It's better to offend. You'd be the offensive side,
exactly.
But especially a high wire act like you. But did Gary just do that instinctively, or did Bill Frieder just cram that in his mind, or how did that work?
He did it at his own free will. His thing was, every team that we played, Gary always wanted the best guard to guard. That's what he wanted. And so, we talked about this before. I remember specifically playing against Indiana in Bloomington. And when I tell you, he shut Steve Alford down.
Yeah.
Steve Alford was averaging about 19. I think he might have got 7.
Really?
And Oh, because Gary was, listen, when you hear the old saying, get in his jock.
Yeah.
Gary Grant was in his jock.
Yeah.
Everywhere he went, Gary was in his face. And so I also realized that if you don't play good defense, you're not going to win. You're not going to win championships.
No.
You got to play defense, and you got to have a guy like Tarpley, who was always there for the backup, for the block shot, for the rebound. And that's why when we talk about Michigan now, that's why I love Hunter so much.
Yeah.
Because even though Ward was more athletic, Hunter is one of those guys that I feel like we can't win without.
Yeah. Well, you've been preaching Hunter Dickinson,
Yep.
since he was, go back to his freshman year or during that
Mm-hmm.
COVID year. But and he's much more assertive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That there were some times though. I mean, he only had a few shots in that first half. Uh,
Yes.
I go back. Ohio State game that's also another good one we can talk about. That was with a lot of energy in that game. But when you look at Doug McDaniel now, parlaying from Gary Grant over to Doug McDaniel, what have you seen that excites you about his game since that start when after Jalen Llewellyn went down to injury?
Energy. That's what I see from him. Energy. And last night he shot the ball well. I thought that me and you talked about this before. I like the young kids game now, but I feel like Buffkin is our leader in that position.
Yeah, he
I
is
think
good.
Buffkin last night watching it this time, but I saw Buffkin last night. I was like, is that the same guy from the beginning of the year?
Yeah, yeah,
Because he has totally changed. And so I think our guard play is much better now.
yeah. Well, when I remember when I think of Kobe Buffkin, I go back to last year
Mm-hmm.
when he was not
Mm-hmm.
even playing, and
Right.
I would get to Chrysler, hang out down there at the media level for an hour before the game, come out of the tunnel, and he's out there by himself an hour before the game, just getting up jump shots one after another. A manager's feeding him, and and evidently this is the way this dude is in practice, before and after, and so he's a hard worker, so that's great. One thing back on Doug McDaniel in the post game, Jet Howard was interviewed, and all he wanted to do was talk about was Doug McDaniel, which I love
Really?
to hear. I mean, when a teammate talks about a teammate, that's instant credibility in my mind.
Yes. Me
And
too.
he talked about how they've come in together and how much of a leadership expansion role he's had. And this is a coach's son saying this,
Right. And this is a good thing.
Yeah, that's a really good thing. So these are little itty bitty takeaways that now daunting task. I mean, there's 8 wins right now, Rich, and I think I've
Okay.
punted this nail for after that infamous Central Michigan loss.
Right.
I said, Rich, I remember that next day. I said they got to get to 12 Big Ten wins because they lost a quad three. So I mean, and there's four quad ones in front of them.
Right.
And if they get, there's 7 games remaining.
Okay.
I say they got to win 4 of them to get. I mean, so that they can go to Chicago for the Big Ten tournament, knowing that they're likely in the tournament, regardless. Because when you go to the Big Ten tournament, now you didn't have to deal with the Big Ten
Right. Right.
tournament,
Right. But we didn't have it.
but when you go to the Big Ten tournament, I mean that's a crapshoot. You
True.
don't know, And last year Michigan laid an egg. They got bounced by Indiana, a
We
desperate
sure
Indiana.
did. We sure
And
did.
so it's not like always good things happen. So that means you're right. It starts Saturday, and then that not to get ahead, but that would be 9. Then they need to get 3-3 the final. They got some tough one. They got Michigan State at home. They got
Yes.
Rutgers on the road. They got Wisconsin on the road. Wisconsin had a big win the other night,
We got
and they got to
Wisconsin
go
at
to
home too,
Indiana.
don't we? We
What's
have
that?
Wisconsin. We have Wisconsin at home as well.
Twice, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And this one next week they're going to Wisconsin for the first time since that
Oh.
mishap with Juwan. You remember on the
Right.
so
I remember. I'm
that
looking forward
crowd's
to
going
that
to be
game.
all lathered up, and
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be tough. But it starts first. So Trace Jackson Davis, TJD, in the middle for Indiana. The guy is, I swear to God, that guy. He reminds me of you in this regard. He's a second popper off the floor. He can jump up and
Yes.
jump up again.
Yes, he
He's
can.
got that instant bounce, as we, you know what I mean?
Yes, I
I
know
mean,
exactly, and I agree with you totally. I think the kid, because I watched them play the other day against
Purdue, was it Purdue
Purdue.
or no?
Purdue.
No, they no. It was I'm trying to think of who they had.
No, this one was against Purdue. This one was against
Yeah, on
Edie.
last weekend. Yeah,
against Edie. And that
Oh,
kid,
then they played Rutgers after that too.
right,
Yeah.
they did. But
Yeah.
this kid, Tom, for Indiana, I feel like he's going to be a first-round pick if he
I think
comes
so
out of
too.
school.
I think he's
Because
phenomenal.
you know what else is confusing? He's a lefty.
Yeah.
He's a lefty. And I keep telling everybody, you know, with lefties, if you got some skills, you can do a lot of things on a basketball court because we're all programmed to guard right-handed guys.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you get a lefty, he gonna confuse you like nothing else. And so, yeah, I think he's gonna be tough. But listen, you know me, he in the middle, and that means he has to guard Hunter.
Yeah.
So I feel like you go at Hunter, he gonna go right back at you. But we got to give him the ball. I was telling a friend the other day, Dennis Hobson, that
Ohio
I like
State.
the I like the kid who comes in for Hunter. He's about 6'11, 6'10, 6'11. I think he's going to be an amazing player. Remember, we said I wanted them to play together.
Oh, you
Him and
mean
Hunter.
Terrace Reed?
Yeah, Reed.
Yeah.
Junior.
Now the only
Reed
thing with
Junior.
Terrace Reed, he's a worse free throw shooter than your good friend Butch Wade,
Yes.
and that's saying a
Yes.
lot.
That says a lot, Tom. That says a lot. Tom, I watch him and I pray that his go in because you're right. Butch, we can kind of tell when Butch let it go off his hand if it was going to go in or not. And so we position ourselves. But I feel the same way about Terrence. I'm like, listen, man, just get it up there. If you get it up there and it comes off your hand good because he's so big.
But
I think they got big hands.
he hit back-to-back free throws
Yes, he did.
in the Ohio State game.
Yes, he
Or
did.
maybe it was a Nebraska game. One of the
No,
two.
yeah, it was Ohio State. He hit back to back.
Okay. And it's like, did that just happen? Did that just happen? You know what I mean? And
Right.
remember Shaq, he used to say, Shaq, his hands were so big that it was like they were too big. He couldn't
It's
it
like an
made
orange in his hand.
or like a volleyball. It's like pretend, like you shooting a free throw with a volleyball with your hands. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like with Terrace, he's such a big dude. I'm trying to figure out why it's so difficult. Can you imagine that guy's a freshman and he's a hustle guy, just like Will Cheddar. There's two guys that come off the bench to bring instant energy.
Right.
Okay.
You know, I love Will Cheddar.
Yeah. Can you imagine how many free throws? I mean, the opportunities to make free throws over the next couple of years for Terrace Reed, the way he hustles the boards
Yes.
and
Yes.
putbacks. He gets fouled
Yes.
because he's so damn big and he's
Yep.
quick. He's actually
Yep.
quick. And he can put it back quick. But
Right.
I mean, but when you're going, I mean, that's like a turnover waiting to happen if you foul him and he's playing school.
I agree with you. I like him because he's young. He plays strictly with energy.
Yeah.
And so my thing is we got to work with his free throws. That's for sure. I'm sure Jawan got some guys over there working on their free throws because I would have those guys shoot free throws before practice, during practice, and after practice. That's when you shoot them free throws. And
Did you do
so,
that?
oh yeah, we shot free throws. When we walked in, everybody had to make 25 when you walk in. And after, you had to shoot another, you shoot during the practice. After practice, coach, he wanted you to get at least 25 in. So you walked away shooting at least 100, 200 shots of free throws a day.
Okay, let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
What were you at the free throw line percentage wise?
Oh, that was pretty good.
Well,
I had to be
give me a number.
81,
75%?
80.
You were 80%?
Yeah, 79, 80%. Yeah. You know
So
why?
why? Why were you so good?
Because when I was a kid, my brother told me that those were free. Ain't nobody running up there to hit you. Ain't nobody saying that you could shoot these. And that's why I always concentrated. And I always thought free throws are easy. I never thought they were difficult. It's a muscle memory. I can shoot free. I can shoot. I hit 10 in a row right now today.
You could.
Yeah, I do it against my son all the time.
Okay. So, did you ever, and I should know this because I remember just about all this crazy crap, but was the game ever on the line when you were at the free throw line?
Only in high school.
Not at Michigan?
Never at Michigan. In high school, I was at the line once. We were playing Derek Harper, his high school.
Yeah,
who went to
Illinois.
Illinois.
Oh, that dude was a player.
And this was to go to the sectionals, one game before the state tournament. And I go to the line.
Was he from West Palm?
Yeah, he's from West Palm as well. Yeah, Derek is from West Palm. And so I got 2 free throws at the line. Because I went to make a drive, the kid fouled me. I go to the line, I got 2 free throws, and I hear for some reason, Tom, I heard nothing. I didn't hear anything while I was sitting at the line, even though the gym was packed. It was like a tunnel. And I got up and made both free throws. We ended up winning the game. And afterwards, everybody was like, yo, man, you hit the free throws for the game. I had no clue that's not how I thought about it. To me, it was just another game. Well, and my free throws added more points.
Well, I remember the Maryland game about 3 or 4. Beeline was still there. Muhammad Ali Abdul-Rahman was the point guard for Michigan.
I know Rahman.
Okay. The Maryland game, Michigan had just beat Michigan State in early January. And they come back. Maryland has them on the ropes. And Michigan makes a comeback, and Muhammad gets fouled with like 1 second to go. Down one. He hits both of them. Something like that. He hits both.
That's important. Yeah, that's okay. Something like that.
And so his dad was a coach, by the way. His dad was a high school coach. Okay, you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
So I asked him. That's when you go in the media area, you got this little scrum areas, all the players, and so I asked him. So what goes through your mind in that situation? I asked him about prior situation he was in. He says, I heard nothing.
Oh, really?
I mean, first of all, when you're the home team, you don't hear anything anyway. But I mean, I don't hear, if it doesn't matter on the road. And my he indicated his concentration level is so high. It's just like someone muted the audio on a TV.
Yep, that happens. That's how it happens.
Now that's major psychological skill set.
Yes.
To do that, which is the mental part of the game.
Well, I never thought about the pressure of that moment, because I gotta say, I hit one in high school, but I also hit one in Greece. When I played in Greece, I had a couple free throws to win a game. It's like tunnel vision. It's like you've done this a million times, and so I never thought about the pressure. I guess if I thought about the pressure, I probably would have missed, but I never thought about the pressure. I just thought about. I'm gonna be honest, Tom. I was a point hungry dude. And so every time I'm at the free throw line, I ain't trying to miss, because all these are extra. These are extra points right here.
Yeah, these are freebies, like your brother said.
Freebies, yeah, freebies.
What was your biggest shot you made at Michigan? Do you remember it? Was there that shot you'll always remember?
Well, for me, I don't remember the team, but I remember the shot. It was a tip dunk. Came off the rim and I dunked it back in. For me, that was one of the best shots that I ever had, because that whole week we had been throwing the ball off the glass, just catching it and dunking it in, just having fun. And when I caught that tip dunk, I was surprised. I was like, this is the first tip dunk I caught at Michigan. I had never caught one in a game at Michigan, and I caught one in a game, so it was kind of cool.
Was it at a crucial moment of the game?
No. You know what? It was in the first half of the game.
Okay.
In the last 5-6 minutes.
Okay. Was there ever a shot when, like, I mean, you were what, the second leading scorer, or who was the leading your senior year?
Roy was the leading scorer, then me.
Then you. Okay. So you're up there as the go-to guy. Okay.
Right.
Were you the go-to guy in that final possession, or was it Roy, or what?
No. It depends on the situation for Frieder.
Yeah.
We would go to Roy, but sometimes Antoine or Gary would have mismatches.
Yeah.
And so we would go with the mismatch. The small forwards in the Big Ten was big guys. So I never really had a mismatch, except we played Indiana with Winston Morgan guarding me. That's a mismatch. But no, you know what? It depends on the situation who Frieder went to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man, that was those back-to-back titles. I'm sure you think about it often, right?
Often.
You think back, how often do you think back to Michigan basketball days and your experience in Ann Arbor for 4 years?
Every time I watch a Michigan basketball game.
Yeah.
Every time, because I tell people this, Tom, all the time, and I'll see you when we go against Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Every time I go to Ann Arbor, no matter how many years it's been, they treat me as if I still play there.
Is that right?
That's how they treat us.
Good to hear.
And it's an amazing thing. I've been there, Tom, when I took my son, and the usher remembered who I was.
Yeah. Well,
And
there's
I
some old
was
guys in there.
right. And I
Yeah.
said, and the guy said to my son, he says, your father could really jump. And my son looked at him like, okay.
Yeah, whatever.
But listen, man, I'm telling you, I say this on the daily, Tom, that one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life was to choose to go to school at the University of Michigan.
Wow.
Greatest decision ever.
Wow. That's pretty compelling stuff there, my friend.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. He's Richard Rellford. He's number 40 out of Riviera Beach, Florida. Rich, it's always great to have you on. We're gonna talk. We're gonna get some guests on these
Coming
back
up.
half of the season. We got
Okay.
the greatest free throw shooter in the history of Michigan basketball, Butch Wade, coming up,
Butch
right?
Wade. Butch Wade is coming on the 21st. We'll see it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And we'll tease him about that. And but next week we're gonna have Carlton Valentine. I'm gonna
I look
work on
forward to
getting
Carlton.
V to get him on there, and we can talk about that Michigan State rivalry as we're leading up to that Michigan State game a week from Saturday night. But all well and good, Richard Rellford. Great job, my friend, and we'll talk to you next week. And stay safe.
Thanks, Tom. You do the same, man. Go blue.
All right, go blue.